So I made this shelf years ago, back when I was just a baby artist. I'm talking at least 15 years ago, so cut me some slack on this one. It was supposed to be trees in different life cycles and different seasons, I guess. I don't know. It's ugly, and I never finished it. So let's tear it apart and redo it. Not with trees, but I thought this would make a great haunted house. But first, let's get rid of all these ugly things. What even is that? A robot tree? And although this one isn't bad, it's just a stump. Oh, and then I just shove a real tree in there. I have no idea how I attached this one, but I wish I did because that thing's hanging on for dear life. Although I do know how I attached this one. With chocolate Ovaltine. I don't know. I guess it's a good thing I have my Fortress of Suction handy for all the sucking. Ew, look at that layer of dust. Hey, is it true that dust is just dead skin cells? My husband says that it's dust mite poop, but I don't think so. I heard it was dead skin cells. Although how do haunted houses become dusty? If they're abandoned, who's leaving the skin cells? I mean, ghosts, obviously. Shwabam. Ooh, this is gonna be the porch. Snap-a-doodle. And that's gonna be the front entrance, which needs lights. Spoiler, they flicker. How cool is that? I'm not going to show you right now because I didn't get footage of me turning them on, but I promise I will later. Oh, and every good front entrance needs pictures of the people who live in the house. And who lives in this house? Ghosts. Shasha. All these ghost hunters trying to capture ghosts on camera, and all they had to do, zoink, was go to a ghost house. Bam. And take their pictures off the walls. Aha, why didn't they think of that? Oh, so this table's a little too big, so I snapped it in half like a Kit Kat bar. There, now it's the perfect size. But the perfect size table needs the perfect size teapot with a plant growing out of it. Who's taking care of that plant? I don't know. These are the questions that you don't need to ask. Shwabam. Watch as I make one chair into 3. Hey, even ghosts need somewhere comfy to sit, and I'll just add these to the porch in totally normal positions. There's no weird chairs here. Totally normal human chairs. And look at that, we got 2 rooms down out of 9. Next up, I'm gonna do this room right over here. And actually, it's my favorite room inside of a house, the kitchen. I like my snacks, okay? But I don't know if you're gonna want to snack in this room, you know, with it being a haunted house and everything. Ooh, what kind of snacks does a ghost eat? Cha-cha. Ice cream? Snap-a-doodle. Get it? Ice cream? Shwabam. Okay. What's a ghost's favorite food? Goulash? Or is it spaghetti? Spooky-getty? No, that doesn't really work. Ooh, but I heard that they like blueberries. Blueberries? No, nothing? Blueberries? Right. So, anyways, if you were paying attention and not distracted by my awesome jokes that I may or may not have Googled, I made a pantry shelf, you know, for our kitchen. Okay, I say it's a pantry shelf, but really, it's just gonna be a bunch of bottles. Like, look, this looks like a little science experiment. Because maybe the people that lived in this house before they passed away were scientists. In fact, maybe that's why they're ghosts now, huh? They, like, experimented on themselves. And now they're trapped in their own house with their experiments. I don't know. But look at all my little bottles. Aren't they cute? And then I added a skull. Don't ask. I guess every ghost scientist needs a skull. I don't know. You know what? It looked good. And really, that's all the justification I need. Oh, guess what? I put lights in this hole too. And this time I remembered to show you. Look, it's a red light because that's scary, I guess. Anywho, moving on to the next room. This is gonna be the living room. Caw-caw, which is off limits to all ghosts because it's the living room. Get it? Get it? And that's why there's no pictures of ghosts. They're just pictures of, I don't know, what are these pictures of? I mean, these are totally normal human pictures. That's what they're of. And as a human, you should know that. Okay, honestly, I've collected little printouts throughout the years for my miniatures. Oh, look, there's a clown. What do you mean you don't have a clown picture on your wall? That's a normal human thing to have on their wall. Anyways, I've collected a bunch of printouts for my miniatures, and so that's what I used. Oh, and so I made this lamp a long time ago out of a bead and a toothpaste cap, so I thought I'd use it in our living room because living rooms have lamps. And then I'm making this little table for our lamp out of a thread bobber thing. A thimble? No. Thread holder. I don't know. You know what it is. Ooh, and look at that. Our lamp actually lights up. But you know what? 1 lamp is good. That means 2 lamps is even better. And I'm actually showing you how I made this one. Look. See, it's super easy. Just some beads and a cap. And then you just shove the light bulb up into the shade. This one's going to be a floor lamp, so it doesn't need a thread bobber thingamajig because it goes on the floor, hence the name floor lamp. Oh, and so since this is the living room and there's nobody living in our house because they're all ghosts, remember? This room's gonna have to look like the most abandoned room. Ooh, remember that tree that I pulled out of the hole in the beginning? Look at me reduce, recycle, and reusing things. I just shoved it into the corner because I assume abandoned places would have random trees growing out of them. I don't know. But they definitely have dirt, so that's why I'm adding all this dirt and leaves. Because the elements are spilling into this room because it's never used, I guess. I don't know. But look, we have 4 rooms done out of 9. We're like halfway there. Okay, next up, I know you're gonna think we're gonna do the center room because it's the next one, but just kidding. We're skipping that room for now because that's like the most important room and it's right in the middle. And I don't know what to do yet in that room, so we'll just procrastinate it for now until I come up with a plan. So what's this room gonna be? The bedroom, which means it needs a haunted bedroom mirror because this is a haunted house. See, the crack in the mirror is what makes it haunted. Did I risk 7 years of bad luck to make this? I sure did. Anything for you guys, but it's okay because I threw salt over my shoulder and went under a ladder. I don't know. How do you reduce a bad luck curse? Asking for a friend. Ooh, hold on. That gives me an idea for a story. Maybe this is the room where everything starts. So somebody broke this mirror and I assume it's a child because children break things. And also I'm pretty sure this is a child's bedroom. And when little Beatrice, that's what I just named her because that's an old name and it sounds haunted. I don't know. When little Beatrice broke the mirror, she put a curse on the whole family. And at first it was just little things like snap-a-doodle. I don't know, getting a splinter, stubbing your toe, having annoying solicitors come to your house. Anyways, so the parents kept trying different things to get rid of the curse because they were tired of the solicitors. Not to mention the stubbing of the toes. And so they tried all sorts of things like witchcraft and, I don't know, how do you get rid of curses again? Salt or holy water? Oh no, it looks like little Beatrice spilled her strawberry jelly all over her bed. Must have been the curse. Ooh, so since this is a child's room, I figured it needed some child dolls. So I use these little tiny people for dolls or figurines or I don't know, things that children would have on a wall. And look, there's Beatrice's room. We've done 5 rooms so far. You know, it's really hard for me not to call them holes because they're like haunted hidey holes. Anyways, the next room hole that we're gonna do is right up here. Ready? Snap. Hold on. Whoopah! Ooh, look at that wood paneling. Sha-sha! Bloop! We made a wood floor to go with our wood paneling. Look, it just barely fits. And what is this? A cage? Why would a cage be in a haunted house, Ashley? Well, remember the curse? That's right, Beatrice's parents thought the only way to get rid of the curse was to lock up Beatrice in a cage. Look, they weren't winning any Parent of the Year awards, trust me. But locking up little Beatrice wasn't working, obviously. So then they tried lighting all these candles for some reason. I don't know. Honestly, I think Beatrice's parents were just at their wits' end. And they were trying everything at this point. But what is this? A box of skulls? Let's see which one is more Beatrice shaped. Because Beatrice's parents forgot to feed Beatrice. Or maybe being locked up in a cage wasn't great for her health. Who can say? But there she is. And now she's a ghost. But you know what? Her mom was really sad, so she tried a Ouija board to communicate with her. I mean, sure, she was a terrible parent, but maybe she was a better parent in the afterlife. I don't know. Click. Caw. So moving on to the next room. I left my little dangly things from my original box in this hole because I thought they were kind of cool and I liked them. Also, they were a lot harder to remove than you would think they would be. I mean, sure, I could have cut them, but that would have been rude. Oh, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a light in the back wall there. And I thought the perfect thing to put in front of that light would be a crystal ball. Because that room was kind of given hippie vibes. Not that fortune tellers are hippies, but I don't know, they kind of are. Ooh, and then I got my box of leftover miniatures out. You know, stuff I made for other projects that I'd never used. And I don't have the heart to throw away, which is good because it's perfect for this occasion. Ooh, so very, very shiny. See, I'm making like a little gem collector tray. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that that's a little dragon egg. No, hold on. I'm pretty sure that's a mermaid egg from my submarine miniature with the captured mermaids. Wait, do mermaids lay eggs? I mean, they are half fish, so I assume they would, right? Anyways, that's a whole different story. Back to this one, I'm adding a big rock of amethyst because that's the best gem, a candlestick, and a bottle of elixir. These are all handmade things that I made for other miniatures that I never used. Well, except the amethyst. I didn't make that. I mean, obviously, you knew that. And look, the light works behind the crystal ball. Next up, we're gonna need a rug, but unfortunately, because there's a tiny rug store nearby, I'm gonna have to make one by painting a rug pattern on a piece of fabric. Look, I kept it pretty simple because there's a lot going on in this hole, and I didn't want it to distract from, the crystal ball. Speaking of crystal ball, ooh, look how pretty it is. We got 7 rooms done in our haunted mansion house. Guess what? It's time. We're going to do the room in the middle. Yes! Because I finally had a good idea that's middle room worthy. First, I got to get this terrible string off. I tried to take out the floor, but whatever glue I used, this floor is not budging. If you can't beat it, work around it. Oh, and look, little Stumpy is back. I don't know if you remember, but this is the stump from the beginning of this project. I figured it wasn't so bad. Let's turn it into a table. Shusha! Oh look, here's the tabletop now for our stump. Isn't that adorable? I would love a table like this in real life. Do you think I could make a real life version? I don't see why not. I mean, I don't think I'd want to use a real stump, but I'm sure I could sculpt something. Oh shoot, I should be talking about this art. As you can see, I put tarot cards on the table. I don't know if this table was set up before Beatrice died or after. Because if you remember, Beatrice's family is trying to get rid of the unlucky curse that Beatrice caused by breaking a mirror. And then her family thought that the only way to get rid of the curse was to get rid of Beatrice. But then the mom felt bad, so she tried to talk to Beatrice from the afterlife. But I don't think tarot cards let you talk to the dead, right? They just let you see the future. Maybe they were trying to figure out if they were going to be cursed forever. And if I remember my tarot cards correctly, which I'm sure I don't, but I think the swords are really bad, and that was the last card. So I'm guessing Beatrice's family got really bad news. And interesting little tidbit, I actually made this table to go up here, but I thought there was way too much stuff going on in that hole, so I moved it down here. I really think it's center hole worthy. I also left the little clouds in the background because I thought they were cute. So I guess not everything from this original design was terrible, just most of it. All right, let's move on to our last room hole. We're gonna paint it with a doodle, and then I'm gonna patina it up with this patina. What is patina? Only the best stuff ever because it makes things look old. Look, watch this time lapse. That was only like a few minutes. If I had left it for like a whole day, it would look really cool. But you know what? I got stuff to do. Like build these tiny plants. Shasha! And boop! See, I'm using all my plastic junk and I'm putting little plants in them to make little pots. Isn't that adorable? I love it so much. Look, I'm just gonna make a whole handful of potted plants and I'm gonna be excited about it, okay? And don't rain on my parade about being a millennial and just let me have this. And I know you're asking, Ashley, why are you making a whole bunch of potted plants? Well, this haunted hidey hole room is gonna be a terrarium? I'm not sure if that's the right word. Maybe like a greenhouse, but not green, or a house. Okay, it's like a porch that has a whole bunch of plants on it. What would you call that? Just porch plants? That's boring. Don't be boring. Oh, look, it's one of those trees that I ripped out of this original box. And now I'm gonna shove it back into its box. Is it happy about that? Probably not. I think it was probably happy being free after years of being glued to a floor and then shoved into storage. But this time, its little prison has friends. Look at all those plant friends. Awesome, let's make some more. Hey, so do you name your houseplants? Because I do. I have Bruce and Stella and of course Steven. Although Steven's looking kind of dead these days. I'm thinking I should just invest in fake plants. They're expensive, but they're way less work. And honestly, I'm gonna be saving money in the long run because I don't have to replace them when they die, right? Sure, they're the price of 7 real plants, but if I keep it for more than 7 months, it makes up for the price. Anyways, look at my little succulent pot. I think this one's my favorite. It's super cute. But unfortunately, I put it over here and you won't really be able to see it. Oh, who is this handsome devil? Is it a ghost? I don't think so. I think it's just a statue. Right, because remember in the beginning, we put ghost pictures on the walls and those were like sheet ghosts, not human form ghosts. But we don't want to create more ghosts, so I have to put up this railing. Otherwise, people are going to fall out of this terrarium, also known as the potted plant prison. And we've filled all 9 of our room holes. But as I was looking through all the holes, I realized we're missing some stuff. Like this back room is supposed to be a kitchen, but nothing in it says kitchen. So what's something that I could put in there that's kitchen-y? A kitchen knife. Does anybody else say the word knife in their head like knife? I also say the word scissors, skizzers in my head. Or Wednesday, but that's more because I can't spell. Anyways, moving on to adding things to my room holes. This middle hole could be more whimsical. A whimsical hole, if you will. Does that rhyme? It kind of does. I thought I'd add little pocket watches to the wall. I don't know why there's pocket watches on the wall. Maybe that's how ghosts decorate. I don't know. I'm not a ghost yet, but when I become a ghost, I will let you know. And then I added skizzers to the living room. There's no story behind that. It's the same reason why I'm adding these keys to the wall in the bedroom. It just looked cool. And look, we have the inside of our house done. I think it's looking pretty good. Now to work on the outside, because our ghosts are gonna want privacy, I assume. Flick-a-doodle. So let's add some privacy to our haunted house, which is going to involve doors and windows. Oh, look, here's a door right now. It's a screen door for our front entrance, complete with real screen. Now, if only I could make that sound when you open this. You know what sound I'm talking about. You know that sound? Unfortunately, it's just a quiet screen door. Ooh, but what's this? Bam! Could that possibly be a window hole? Well, it's definitely not a hole for mail because that'd be too high and weird. So let's put some stained glass in it because stained glass is creepy, I think. Ooh, and the best part, when we get to shrink the stained glass. Oh yeah, so now we're just gonna install it into our not mail hole. And look at that, doesn't that look neato? Right, so I was thinking about the story that we came up with, about the curse. And maybe the ghosts in the house are trying to warn everybody about the curse. And that's why the front entrance has ghost pictures. They're like, hey, if you come in this house, you're going to turn into one of these ghosts. I don't know. Also, I'm not sure how Beatrice's parents passed away, but I'm going to assume it was curse related because, bam, when the parents got rid of Beatrice, it probably ramped up the curse rather than got rid of it. Or maybe Beatrice got revenge. Snap-a-doodle. Ooh, double snap-a-doodle. With a schwabam. Yeah, no, we're going with that. Okay, so Beatrice got revenge on her parents because her parents locked her up in that cage. And I don't know about you, but that would make me pretty vengeful. And do you remember that sharp pointy object that we left on the kitchen floor? Blink. Maybe that was murder object number 1. Oh, and do you know what the second best window is? A bay window. Do you think they make circle bay windows? Nah, that's too good of a window, right? I mean, if they made circle bay windows, then everybody would have a circle bay window, obviously. Oh, so you know how we're adding windows and doors for privacy? Well, I didn't want the ghosts to have too much privacy, and I wanted to be able to see into their house. Look, I need to know if they're getting into trouble and mischief, because I assume that's what ghosts do. So that's why I put hinges on this bay window. That way I can open it up and you can see inside. Look how cute it is. Next, we're gonna have to add a window to that living room, but since it's a living room, we don't need it to open and close because the ghosts aren't gonna be in there. Because a living room is for the living. So this room hole just gets a static window. But don't worry, there's gonna be a circle window touch to the top. Oh, and I saw this really cool way to make curtains with just some fabric and fabric stiffener. And so I thought I'd give it a try. See, I'm just putting my fabric into a curtain shape and then spraying it with the fabric stiffener. And once it dries, it's supposed to keep its shape, which it totally did. Look, it worked. How cool is that? I'm gonna have to use this trick more. But seriously, what is fabric stiffener for? How does it work? And do you use it on real clothes? Why would you want your clothing to be stiff? I mean, I assume it's for fancy clothes and I don't have any fancy clothes, so. Also, isn't it gonna wash out every time you wash your clothes? So do you have to reapply it every time that you wash? This sounds like a lot of work. I don't think I want any clothes that require that kind of maintenance. Anyways, look at our living room with all the lights on. Doesn't that look awesome? Okay, so next up, you would think that I'd be doing the center hole, but I'm gonna procrastinate it a little bit longer because that's the most important hole, remember? And I've got to come up with a really good idea for that one. Shwaboom. So while I figure out that hole, shake, shake, let's do the porch. Or is it called a deck? I'm not really sure the difference between a porch and a deck. I think a porch has walls, right? Or is that just a screened in porch? Or no, a porch has a roof. But then when I get a sunsetter awning on my deck, does that turn it into a porch? Ha-cha-cha. I don't know, it doesn't matter. We're moving on to the middle hole. Bloop. Which of course it's gonna be a circle window. Bam. The middle hole is the most important hole, which should get the most important window shape. Circle. And look, this one's gonna have hinges too. See, I can see you. The next couple windows, I'm just gonna go faster because you saw me make the first couple and you get the idea. And I don't wanna bore you. So I thought the cage room shouldn't have a window, but I did add scratch marks to the back because Beatrice really wanted to get out. Unfortunately, there was this gap that was problematic and Beatrice would have gotten out if I hadn't fixed it. And if Beatrice gets out, then our house isn't haunted. Normally, I would have cut this part out of the video because nobody cares how I close this door, but I wanted to show off my engineering skills because I thought I was pretty smart about this. Look, I added these magnets with little plates of metal and then I glued the door to the little plates of metal, but This edge doesn't look right, so I fixed it with a wooden spoke bobber thingy. What? I think that's pretty smart. Look, it works. And now Beatrice is safely trapped. I know. You don't have to call me a genius, but you know, if you want to. I'm not gonna stop you. Anyways, moving on. So for our next window hole thing, we're doing the pretty dangly room. So I wanted a really pretty door window to match. And do you know what makes a doorway 73% more prettier? Stained glass circle windows. Let's just seal those windows up so that they don't leak. And look at that magical archway. You know, as I was painting this, I think I'm second guessing the color choices here. But the crackle paint is a nice touch. However, I think if I could go back to the beginning, I would have painted everything purple and green, Chopin, rather than the turquoise and mint that I did choose, which I have no idea why I chose those colors. I mean, they're okay. I don't hate it. I'm just not in love with it. So now I'm just adding a few little details around on the outside, like this little flower box, or should I call it a weed box, since it's mostly weeds. And then I added some scruff to the porch deck because I highly doubt that the ghosts are trimming their, I don't even know what you'd call this, vines that have died. And they're definitely not using a leaf blower on their leaves in their gutters and on their porch deck. Although maybe ghosts don't need a leaf blower because they're kind of wind anyway, right? Or would you call them gusty? Dusty, gusty ghosts? Ooh, that would be a good band name. Nobody steal it. It's mine. TM. You know, for when I make that band. Oh, and then I'm adding moss to the roof because that just makes sense. Anyways, this was a really long project and I added a few more things, but I'm not going to show you because I don't want to. Okay, really. It's because I think you'd be bored. So we're just skipping to the end. See? What do you guys think? Also, I was thinking about adding a roof, but I don't know. I feel like it doesn't really need a roof, but it also kind of feels like it's missing something. I mean, besides stairs to the porch deck. Shh, don't worry about it. Ghosts live here anyway, so they can levitate. It just deters the rascally teenagers that are gonna do weird things in my haunted house. Anyways, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to, and maybe hit that like button, but only if you want to. It does help me out. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!